The ambition was always very, very big. Anything that you think might happen, something entirely different happens. And that, to me, is great, great writing. It's almost a decade of people's lives. We've been through a lot together. It's been a trip. It's been unexpected. I'm just very thankful for it, really. Back in 2012, like if you put Peaky Blinders into a Google search, there would be one result. So there wasn't that much. A lot of it was Steve telling these stories about what he'd heard from his parents handed down in Birmingham. I read books about, you know, Britain between the wars and poverty, and so that was very informative. We went to visit Romany gypsies.
Homie! We're gonna play 2 Up.
We just talked to them about their culture. And I remember there was loads of horses, and I remember there was a youngster, he must have been around 11 or 12, and he jumped up on a horse bareback and headed off. I remember Steve and myself going, Tommy should ride in bareback. I can't just wake up, put on the hat, grab a fag, and then I'm off. It's definitely always a journey. He's such a distance for me as a character, and it takes an awful lot of time to get back there. So I take several months each time to work towards it, like working on the scripts and then sort of physically getting to that place. If you're unafraid of death and you've seen the horror of World War I and that sort of mechanized warfare on such a vast scale, he feels like every day is a bonus. So he has this relentless ambition that keeps driving him.
This is the day we replace Billy Kimber. This is the day we become respectable.
And the more he succeeds, the more it drives him. And he only looks forward, Tommy. You know, he never looks backwards. It's only when he meets Grace, there's some sort of thawing of that emotional state. Do you dance?
If I'm asked properly.
He's dealing then with becoming an older man, becoming a father, becoming a family man, dealing with middle age. That's very clear that that happens to Tommy. You realize that Tommy is completely fallible, completely weak. He has sensitivities. He does love people. He does care for people, but he does these abominable acts as well. So it's like a highly exaggerated, highly magnified version of us all, because we're all walking around full of contradictions and desires.
Happy or sad?
Sad.
Playing him is relentless, and you really have to just sort of dive in and immerse yourself and cancel everything. But I love it. You know?
Get yourself a decent haircut, man. We're going to the races.
I would get my haircut every 2 days. It takes a lot to maintain it. When we saw it and that silhouette with the suit and the cap and everything, it made sense. We've tried to sort of change it slightly. Every series is slightly different, just to kind of represent his frame of mind and each of the characters' frame of mind. But it's gas that it's become like kind of a style thing.
Men like us, Mr. Shelby, will always be alone.
You forget, Inspector. I have my family.
We see those weird family dynamics, the people that make the decisions, the people that carry out the decisions, the smart ones, the not so smart ones, the lucky ones, the not so lucky ones. There's a constant power shift within the family. I think you can see that with the younger generation.
Take a look at the future, Tommy. At least read it with an open mind.
They're always close on the heels of the older generation.
When the police gets in, do not resist. You go with them, you do not say anything. Linda!
You did this deliberately!
Because all gangsterism generally revolves around a family, I think people identify with that. Not in an immediate way, but it's familiar, you know?
You can do anything you want. Because there are no rules.
I think she was kind of the beating heart of that show, really. And she was certainly my closest colleague on it. And those scenes between her and Tommy were always my favorite. Without doubt, one of the greatest actors I've worked with in my career. But beyond that, just a genuinely genuinely kind, warm, caring person. And every time she was on set, you just feel safer. It doesn't really feel the same without her. And we all really, really miss her, you know.
Tommy is right, you know, Ada. We are flying above the rules now.
We're bold people, aren't we, Polly?
That's the beauty.
Every series has one big sort of set piece, action piece. There's an awful amount of planning and an awful amount of rehearsal and logistics. The ballet sequence in Series 5, I thought that was brilliantly directed and brilliantly executed and looked ravishing, you know. It was really excellent television. I'm a big fan of this sequence where Tommy's in the grave and he manages to survive.
And the bleak midwinter.
You know, we're trying to reach beyond what we've done in the past. We're always trying to improve every series. There's a particular sound for Peaky, really. The credit for that has to go to Otto Bathurst, who directed the first 3 episodes. It was he who put the contemporary music and Nick Cave up against it, and then that kind of unlocked something, and Nick Cave kind of became our music. It's always a collaboration with the director and with whomever is scoring it and the artists that are involved. Steve's idea always was that it was sort of seen through the eyes of a child, so everything appeared more glamorous and bigger and more kind of exotic than would be to sort of adult eyes. So that's why we went with that kind of quite stylized shooting style. It is meant to glamorize, in a way, the working class, because these men and these women at that time, they did spend an awful lot of whatever money they had and an awful lot of time and attention on their appearance. We are like a family. It's like going back to really violent boarding school or something when you go and make Peaky Blinders. We've gotten really close, and I think, you know, particularly some of the younger actors that came up through it was very important for them and for a lot of the crew as well, you know, because it's almost a decade of people's lives, so a lot has happened. We've been through a lot together. It wasn't overnight that the thing became successful. It was very, very gradual, very incremental, that it became something that people took to their hearts, really.
By order of the Peaky Blinders.
It tapped into something that hadn't been done, certainly in British television before, which was to sort of mythologize the working class. The UK had made plenty of shows about the aristocracy. They'd never really made a period show about the working class. And then people love gangsters, don't they? Because gangsters live to this code outside our own moral code, and it's quite unique and quite beguiling and intriguing. It's been a trip. It's been unexpected. I feel like we did some good work. I'm just very thankful for it, really.